Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Fishing with Will's gone mobile. As a matter of fact, we'll talk about the store mobile because I have some good news for everybody. Those of you Lake Orion residents and non-residents. We have minnows at Lake Orion now, and I'll tell you all about it as soon as we get done. But first of all, I want to talk to you about this segment we're about to do. We're going to do some jigging for bass. I already got two earlier. We're doing some pre-fishing just to make sure the bass were in today. So we'll start off here in a minute. I'm going to get some stuff together. I'm going to show you a couple fish we already caught, and then we'll start talking structures and what these bass are going to eat. Today's mostly bass and bluegill. Mainly bass because I'm going to go for some monsters. All right, we'll be back. Remember, we're fishing with Will. We want to catch some big ones. First of all, I want to say it's been a rough couple of years. We're still doing it. We're still going strong. But I want to show you what a pre-fishing can do for you. Pre-fishing is all about where you can test your rod to make sure your rod's working right. So you can test what the fish are doing. And I'll show you why. This is why you pre-fish. Check these out. This is pre-fish. This is bass season now. So here's one big monster we caught. Pre-fishing is important because then you can see what these bass are doing and what they're going to hit on. But there's one big monster. Fishing with Will. We're catching them big ones. Here's number one. Here's number two. And here's giant number two. We're pre-fishing these bass, see? You always want to make sure what they're biting on. I caught these two on night crawlers, so that's probably what we're going to be. We're going to be jigging some night crawlers today. And hopefully these crawlers would do the job. But they're going to be good. I can fillet these out. You can make steaks out of them. Bass, they're not bad. People don't eat them, but they can be eaten. And then, while I was messing around, check this big sunfish out. Big sunfish. But we're going to catch them on camera today, hopefully, too. Give you guys a little taste of what this is all about. I'm going to go set the rod up, and then we'll start. Okay, you can see I got a Gerber Garcia. And let me tell you, this thing helps me a lot when it comes to my bass fishing. It's only lure. The most rod I like to use if I'm gonna, especially for these heavier bass when they're especially after they just got done doing their spawn. So I'll show you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put a worm on here. And remember how I showed you with the loopity-loop? I'll do the same thing. We'll get some loopity-loop going for them. These juicy worms, and I'm just gonna put it through the hook. Boom. Boom. And let that tail hang off for the action for them bass, because they love action. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw it out here. See if we get a bite here. Just maybe I'll catch a bluegill. Lost my worm. Just gotta change the depth sometimes on them too, because they'll sit really deep. Throw it back out there. Just throw it towards this end of the edge of this tree. Sometimes they like to sit on little structures, I've caught some nicer bass doing that. They like to sit right next to these structures. Trees are part of cover too, because they'll sit underneath where the shade is and wait for prey. See, I'm doing a little bit of jigging because sometimes if you jig it off the bottom, the bass will see it. Those big bass will see that. Poof! They'll just eat it. Those bass, that's what they live for, man. They live for these night crawlers. Every other bait I've ever thrown, I've never done as good as I am on a night crawler. caught walleye, crappie, perch, bluegill. I'm caught every fish that swims. I've even caught pike on them. Oh, I forgot to tell you, we are at our location today. We're at Addison Oaks County Park. We're actually at the Potato Pond. I guess I call it a potato pond, but it's a little lake. But it's so full of fish. In our next couple segments, we're going to do some minnow segments, which I told you from mobile. Used to be Vareros on M24. It's now a mobile, and yes, they have live bait. They have minnows, and they're in the process of getting a three-sided tank that they'll be selling 3 different types of minnows. Right now they have shiners, which my next show I'm hoping we could do a shiner show. I just gotta find a lake where we can do it, but we're gonna do some monster shows this year. I've already put it on the schedule to do. We will have little Jimmy back this year. I've already been told I have James this year, so we will have James back this year, which will be a nice addition to the show. Having anybody on the show is good. I'm just hoping we get something on film. And these bass will get hungry and they'll eat this worm I'm throwing out here. I keep losing my worms. I don't know why. Sometimes you also got to fix your rod line because it can, if it ain't line, you still got to make sure it's not. There we go. Especially when you're trying to fish for these hungry fish. There's a bass right here. Ladies and gentlemen, we might kill a bass. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I see a bass. Come on, Junior. And see, sightseeing these bass is another great thing. It can diminish your fishing like crazy. I just had it. Put another worm on. We're gonna get a bass, ladies and gentlemen. I found one. It just takes, with me, it just takes timing because this hook is medium action. I just have to get him to see what he wants. He'll eat it. Put it right back in that hole. Right here. He's gonna take it. There's a bass, ladies and gentlemen. I knew he was there. Oh, he broke it. Oh, he broke it. Ah. It even happens to professionals. We break off a couple, but you seen how he was taking that rod going like that.
Today, a new creature walks among us, terrorizing innocent citizens. until this threat can be contained. We must all be on the lookout for the dreaded digital deadwalkers.
Dude!
They're not looking out for you.
Engage!
A public service safety message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons, who want to keep everyone well connected with strong, healthy bones.
Drownings are a leading cause of death for young children. Simple safety steps are the best way to prevent these tragedies. Make sure kids learn how to swim. Always watch them in and around water. Properly fence all pools and stay away from drains. Consider the steps you take, then add a few more. Because you never know which pool safety step will save a life until it does. Simple steps save lives. To learn some new ones, visit poolsafely.gov.
All right, we're back. Let's see if we can get him now. Drop it right in his mouth. Sometimes you can put like a double drag tail on your worm, and it sometimes it make a difference between a biter and miss, man. Like I could see a bass down there, but he's ignoring it now. But if I put foot him up like that, sometimes you can't resist it. Ladies and gentlemen, persistence does pay off, man. You just gotta be patient, because she's on I think she's kind of still acting like she's pretty messy. I saw another bass. So there's two of them right here in strike distance. And that's always a good thing to see. If you're seeing bass, that's always a good thing. That means, yeah, I think these two are acting like they're still spawning, but I know they're spawned already. I just think they're... Sometimes you act like you're ignoring it. That's when they'll eat it. When we're on one fish. If I can relapse her energy again, she'd probably go after this thing. Oh, you can see that worm. Jigging is a special technique, but when the bass are still, I think they're still spawning, so we'll see. Pre-spawn is when they kind of, they're kind of coming into bed, but spawn is when they're on bed. So we're gonna see what's going on. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I want to see what's going on myself. Monster sunfish, and that's the weird thing. These structures are everything. Nice bass. The thing is, I'm casting everywhere I can cast. Because these fish are moving. Right. I've given up on this one bass because she's not wanting to bite now. Probably not feeling good having a hook in her. So I'm kind of just casting it around. There we go. Sometimes it's nice to even catch some bluegills, man. It'll make somebody a good meal. That one didn't put up a fight. He just bit and went. Something keeps taking my bait in that hole. I can get it past the bass's territory, which we will do. Or the bluegill territory. You want to jig this thing as possibly as you can, because this thing is, I'm setting it good in there if I can set it. I just don't want to keep going short across the lake like a giant frog or something. Not a very big bluegill, but it is a bluegill. Oh, just had something. I still got it. Just another little bluegill. Little guy. Just a little guy. Saw another little bass. Let's see if we can get him to play. Where'd you go, little guy? Where'd that bass go? Bass doesn't want to stay here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 5-minute recess to get a drink. I'm going to get a drink and repower. Hope when I come back, will be a bass coming in. Here we go again. Try this again. We'll try a different area. I just found some more fish. That's why I had to pause, because I'm not getting much like I thought I would in that spot. Been seeing bass all day. We're seeing them. That's a sign. Hopefully we'll catch them. A lot of times this is a good area to be in, is by the lily pads. Because for one, it's covered. That whole bank line down there is covered with cover for them. A lot of times the bass will go in there because the sunlight gets to them too much. I don't want to throw too shallow because then we'll be, well, then we'll be catching bluegills. Like this. You throw too shallow. You throw them too shallow. Wow. Then you catch that. Which is okay, it's a fish, but not what you're trying. You'll try to target a certain fish, it's hard. It's just hard on you. Should've got something in this nest. Come on, baby. See, I love those persistence casting because you want to be able to get it out of ways from the structure, because the bass will go back and forth. When they're looking for food, they're not going to just sit on the structure all day. Let's repeat that cast again. You want to keep repeating its cast a couple times, because a lot of times if something grabs it and it takes down, it will come back, especially if it's hungry. Ooh, that was another good hit. One of these times it's going to be on. That was twice that thing hit it like that. Let's see if I can. Let's go out a little further this way. See if I go over these lily pads. If I go over the lily pads, it might make a big difference from jigging it. Just get a feeling what's underneath by there. A lot of times some bass will sit right up in there. Out there. Jig, 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 jig. Find some bluegills in here though. See? These guys are biting. Bass are here. We just gotta find them. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna do this real quick because we're gonna lose power here soon, so let's see if we can catch a bass over here. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this will do it for now, for today's segment. But remember, when you're fishing with Will, we catch the big ones.